Hello, this is Janet Michael. In addition to hosting The Valley Today each weekday at noon on the River 95.3, I also produce podcasts, and I'm excited to introduce you to a new podcast series in partnership with Lord Fairfax Community College. Having provided higher education and career training for the past half-century, LFCC is tightly interwoven into the fabric of the Northern Shenandoah Valley and Piedmont regions. Join me every week for conversations with current and former students to hear their funny and inspiring stories as we learn about their journey to higher education, the role that LFCC has played, where they are now, and where they plan to go. We'll also talk to current and former professors about their experiences and best memories of LFCC over the past 50 years. Get every single episode as they're released on our website at theriver953.com under the podcast tab, or you can subscribe for free in Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, on Spotify, Amazon Music, wherever you listen to podcasts. Just search for LFCC Stories. Hello and welcome to The Valley Today. I am your host, Janet Michael. Happy Wednesday as you are listening to the show today. And I have to start off the show with an apology because I lied to you yesterday. When I recorded yesterday's show last Tuesday, I fully intended to be sitting in the studio staring at the face of Nikki Kales from the Front Row Warren County Chamber for a live show today. However, a scheduling conflict has prevented us from doing a live show, but we are still sitting across the desk from each other in person pre-recording this conversation. So we figured out a way and made it work.
We did. And in all honesty, that scheduling conflict was mine because things have been crazy busy. We've started doing in-person meetings, all of those things. So we've got lots of things going on. And for whatever reason, when you said, you want to do the show live? I was like, of course I want to do the show live. But as people are listening to this, I'll be at Warren County Middle School for our new teacher reception.
And then when you called me, we're recording this on Tuesday, the day before people are listening to it now on Wednesday, you called me. I said, I thought that wasn't until next week.
Right?
And you said, yeah, I kind of thought it was next week too.
They're for so long time sort of drug. And now it's like someone has turned the dial and sped things up. And so things are in, hyper speed right now.
Well, and it's crazy for me too. And I joke about it all the time on the air because, we're sitting here on Tuesday recording a show people are listening to on Wednesday. Mm-hmm. This morning, I recorded the two Luray shows, and one will air next Wednesday and the other one will air the following Tuesday. But we have to keep in mind when they're airing and what we say and how we say it.
Sure.
So it's a shock that I know what actual day it is on any given day of the week.
Yeah. Well, and I think most of us deal with that issue in some form or fashion in our work life. Now, just by virtue of, all the virtual things we're doing and just all the teleworking, those things, it's got us all confused, I think.
I know. And it doesn't leave much time for time off.
No. Well, you're absolutely right. That's the other thing, because now you can literally work from anywhere. And we've all gotten so used to it
that it's hard to turn it off and disconnect.
It is hard to turn it off, and then it's super easy. Like when I woke up at 4 o'clock this morning and realized, that there was this scheduling conflict that we were just talking about, my first inclination was to grab the phone and text you at 4 a.m.
Thank you for not doing that.
Yeah, you're welcome. I restrained myself from doing that. But again, those are the sorts of things where we have the ability now to be in contact with folks, our coworkers, 24/7, and that's not always a good thing.
Now, I think I need to get my Valley Health mental health ladies back on to talk about disconnecting tools and things like that.
Yeah, they were helpful.
So you mentioned a second ago, as people are listening to this right now, you're knee deep in the middle of the new teacher reception. How many new teachers are coming into Warren County?
The numbers are fluctuating a little bit. The last number that I had was 70.
Wow.
I don't know where that stands. I know they were still trying to hire for a few positions. But yeah, we're going on the number of 70.
Business After Hours is coming back in person.
Yes. So we'll have our first Business After Hours in August in person. So August 19th, which is a Thursday. We're going to float our Business After Hours on days of the week now, because what we want to be able to do is offer the opportunity for everybody to attend. And some people may not be able to make every Tuesday night, but they may be able to make a Thursday night, those sorts of things. It's not going to be as predictable. So it'll always be that fourth week of the month, but the day of the week will change. So August happens to be August 19th, which is a Thursday. It's going to be hosted by AirServe at their new location, which is 702 North Commerce Avenue. Now, they've been there for a while, but of course, COVID and, all of those things.
It was a vortex year. Doesn't count.
Yes,
2020
it
didn't
doesn't
exist.
So this is an opportunity, for them to show off the new space, and it's great space. They've done a terrific job with the building. And, the folks at AirServe always really throw a good party.
Oh, yeah.
Our first in-person networking event in about 18 months.
Yeah, it's going to be kind of a big deal.
I hope so. I do hope so.
I love that you're floating them because I, like probably a lot of your members, are members of multiple chambers of commerce. Because my business is in Winchester, and it's in Luray, and it's in all of these other places, and I join, of course, the chamber for all of those places. Now there's not going to be a conflict that I can't come to one of your business after hours because it falls on the same night as one of the other chambers having one of their business after hours. I'm going to be able to go to all of them now.
Right. Yeah. As you should. That's one of the things that we talk about, because I have people ask me questions about that frequently. So I'm a member of X chamber. So that means I can't be a member of your chamber, right? No, absolutely not. What it means is that every community that you do business in, you should be a member of that chamber.
And take full advantage of everything that those chambers have to offer.
Absolutely. Because we're not competitors at all.
No.
We're working together at every opportunity that we get. And it's certainly very important for you to utilize chambers in each community that you work in to connect in every way humanly possible.
Speaking of connect, you have connected with the Humane Society of Warren County and United Way of Front Royal Warren County. Wagon for Dragons is this weekend as people are listening, right?
It is. It is Saturday the 7th. We'll be at the river where Front Royal Golf Course is, so the boat landing there.
Hey, Lewis, he owns, I guess, or manages. I'm not sure how that all shook out. Front Royal Golf Club.
Yeah. So I think they have the management contract for the golf club. From what I understand now, of course, this is our first year participating, as it is the United Way's first year as well. It started out as solely a Humane Society event, but from what I understand, they provide a ton of support for the event. They'll be providing food day of the event. They allow the Humane Society to use that space at no charge, and so we're really thankful for that. We'll be there at 7 a.m., setting up. So anybody who, is up Saturday morning at 7 a.m. and wants to come down to the river and help us, we would welcome the opportunity to have you there.
Do you still need the forklift or the boom truck?
No, the town of Front Royal is actually handling that. So shout out to the town of Front Royal and the Public Works Department for getting those dragon boats into the river for us.
Because they're huge. Like,
They're
what, 20 people fit in them?
Yeah, they're gigantic.
And then it's a race. They teamwork, and they have to race from point A to point B.
Obviously, and I can appreciate how, teamwork comes into play. You've all got to be paddling in the same direction, and you all have to be paddling sort of, in a rhythm in order to move properly.
Yeah, they don't want me on any of those teams.
And then there's also a drummer at the front of the boat who's sort of trying to establish that rhythm for everybody.
That's what the drummer's for. Megan was saying that the drummer, I'm like, what is this, for music? Is it for entertainment?
No, it's to establish that rhythm and try to get everybody to be paddling in a rhythm in the same direction. Yeah.
And it's really cool because I know she's got a lot of local businesses that chipped in and are going and put together teams to be on these dragon boats.
Yeah, so it's gonna, somebody's gonna walk away with the trophy, and it's a large, very attractive trophy. And so it's been with the folks at Caldwell Banker, I believe, for the last. Obviously, it didn't happen last year,
right?
So it's been with those folks, and they're participating again. So I'm sure they fully intend to take that trophy.
Their title.
Yeah, they fully intend to take that trophy back with them. So we'll see what happens. But there's all kinds of fun little prizes for folks, and it's just it's another one of those really fun community events that. Not only of course, benefits our organizations and the work that we all do in the community, but it also gives you the opportunity to experience, the recreational opportunities that are here locally, and then it just builds that sense of community that we all so desire to have.
I know how many times I, going to Walmart, would say, I really need to drive down there and see what that looks like at the Front Row Golf Club. And then I didn't until Lewis invited me out to do a radio show. Yeah. How many times I didn't even know there was a boat landing down there to begin with. This is a good excuse to finally come down and see all of that so that you know, oh my gosh, I can come back here and do all kinds of other things.
Absolutely. Well, my stepdaughter has had me drive her back there a lot because apparently it's good Pokemon hunting back there. And it's apparently not a secret because every time I take her down there, there's a lot of people doing that down there. So
see, I'm too old for that.
Yeah,
I'm so old for that.
Yeah, I don't really understand it either, but yeah, apparently there's good Pokemon hunting.
Okay, well, thanks for that. Let's take a break. When we come back, I want to talk a little bit about some of the other stuff that the Chamber's going on, in particular, this educational opportunity that's coming up in the next couple of weeks. Can we do that?
Sure, of course.
Okay. We are pre-recording today. We are not live, as I promised you yesterday, but it is Nikki Kales from the Front Royal Warren County Chamber of Commerce. It is the Valley Business Day, and we are in person pre-recording. She's sitting behind the desk that she sits at 7 days a week because, again, even if she's not sitting behind the desk, she's still thinking about what she needs to do behind the desk. We're going to come back and talk more with her in just a couple of minutes.
Got a financial decision to make or a goal to reach, but you don't know where to start? You've come to the right place. Introducing Quick Money Chats with the Northern Shenandoah Valley Financial Education Program. Visit tinyurl.com/Quick Money Chat to schedule a virtual chat with a staff member or trained volunteer. We won't tell you what to do, but we will give you the tools you need to choose wisely. And because Virginia Cooperative Extension is part of Virginia Tech and Virginia State, your land-grant universities, you can be sure that our information is credible and trustworthy. And you'll know that we aren't trying to sell you something. Maybe you want to improve your credit score, or reduce your banking overdraft fees, or even figure out if you can afford to buy that car. Sorting through tons of information on the internet can be overwhelming, and sometimes it can be hard to know who to trust. Schedule a Quick Money Chat and get the information you need to take action. Go to tinyurl.com/Quick Money Chat and get financial education personalized for you.
Welcome back to the Valley today. I am your host, Janet Michael. Happy Wednesday. As you are listening to the show today, we have pre-recorded our conversation on a Tuesday afternoon. I am sitting at the Front Royal Warren County Chamber of Commerce office chatting with Nikki Kales from the Chamber. Nikki, in the first segment, we talked a little bit about business after hours, coming back, the importance of joining all of the chambers in the communities that you do business in. Mm-hmm. We talked about Wagon for Dragons happening this Saturday. There is a lot. Suddenly, you joked about how we flip the switch or turn the dial. Mm-hmm. All of the sudden, everything is back, and it's hard to maintain and manage everything all at once.
Well, it is. We did it before, right? But then there was that break where, not that we weren't busy, because we were managing CARES grants and a lot of other things, but it was a different sort of busy.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden we're back at it again. And so it's just, again, we talked about rhythm before we went to break, and it's the same thing for us. We have to establish that rhythm again, and it'll come. We're firing on all cylinders now. We're just a little wobbly. We talked about joining chambers, and one of the things that you absolutely should do if you join a chamber is you should find out what committees the chamber has, and you should participate in at least one of those. But what I always tell folks when they join our chamber is that if you have the ability to, you should come to one meeting of each committee so that you can determine, what interests you the most.
Yeah. Well, because you may come into this thinking, well, I own a small business, so the small business committee is what I should be on. But it could be that you have a passion for education,
right,
or special events, and that's really where it would be good for you, because you're going to be more committed to it than just sitting on a committee because you think that's where you belong.
Right. And the other thing is, where do you match personalities, because we all have, I think we've all been a part of those groups where our personality just didn't fit, but then we find another group where we're at home. So that's an important piece of the puzzle as well, is finding people that you mesh well with, because when we mesh well with people, we work well with people.
Yeah.
For our chamber, our biggest committees, of course, are the Small Business Committee, which you mentioned, and that Small Business Committee works on educational opportunities, works on things like Small Business Saturday promotions, the National Small Business Week promotions, all of those things. It's a great committee, very active, Education Committee is also a very active committee. It is chaired by Jeff Henson with Rappahannock Electric. I knew you'd want to give Jeff a shout out.
Jeff.
And the new teacher reception is one of our largest events for that committee each year. And then we have an ethics workshop and a few other things that committee works on throughout the year. And then you mentioned special events. So things like the Wine and Craft Festival, the River and Brews Festival, the bowling events that we do throughout the year, golf events. There's so many.
Annual dinner,
legislative committee. That committee works on candidates forums and, then keeping up on legislation and things that may affect the business community. We've got an election coming up in November. And so that committee will have to determine, do we do a candidates forum, and what does that look like, and all of those things. So there's lots of opportunities and lots of ways to be involved.
And you can do as little or as much.
Right.
But you have to do something.
Right, exactly. You can't join an organization no matter what it is and then not participate at all and expect to get a return. It just doesn't work that way. And it can be as simple, honestly, as simple as sending information to go in the weekly email.
Yeah.
That's simple. If that's really all the time that you can spare, then just do that. But like you said, you have to do something.
Well, and that's what I have long since said, and it's probably because I have the marketing background, that I have always felt like being a member of any of the local chambers is the greatest marketing bang for your buck you will ever get anywhere. You get such a variety of ways to get your business name and you as a business owner in front of potential customers, other nonprofits to connect with, other businesses to connect with. It just makes sense from a marketing perspective.
Sure it does. And for most chambers, you're probably looking at less than $1 a day.
Right.
I know for our chamber it's about 73 cents a day. That's far less than a cup of coffee.
Yeah. Well, and because of COVID, now I'm pretty sure you're not billing people every day, but they don't have to pay it all up front. They can do quarterly or every monthly, 6 months or monthly.
So there's all different sorts of payment opportunities. And, again, we talk about committees, and for some folks that sort of stuff seems overwhelming, especially if you're a small business owner, and there are other ways that you can be involved or that we can help you, like the services that Herb's providing, the business support services. Those services are available to both members and non-members. They can have the opportunity to meet with the consultant and talk about an issue they're having, talk about their business plan, talk about funding, all of those things. So there's so many opportunities that chambers bring to the table for small businesses and larger businesses as well.
And Herb's been really busy. He's talked about the number of people that he's had conversations with. Some of them just had the one issue that he showed them, hey, this is where you go to get this problem fixed, or here's what I would recommend that you do to handle that. And then he doesn't have to deal with them. It's not an ongoing thing if it doesn't have to be an ongoing thing.
Right.
But that's an option if you've got a bigger problem or a bigger plan you need to work through.
Sure. If I had my dream scenario, anybody who is contemplating opening a business would come and talk to us first, because at that point we're able to help them walk step by step through everything that they need to do, from getting their location, and helping them go through the permitting process and all of those things, to helping them with their business plans, to helping them with their marketing plans, all of those things, so we can help make those connections. So the moral of the story is, there's so much help out there.
And you don't have to be a member first. That's the key.
No, of course not. Absolutely. I'm never going to turn somebody away. If they walk in the door and if they have no intentions of joining the chamber, I'm not going to turn them away. We're going to help them and direct them to the places they need to be to get the services that they need. At the end of the day, we want our community to be successful, and we want our community to be vibrant, and the way that you do that is you help people as much as possible.
Yeah. And that goes across the board. Business after hours, we talked about those in the first segment. You don't have to be a chamber member to attend those. It's a great trial run to say, I heard this show and they're talking about I should be involved in the chamber, but I don't really know what the chamber is. They can come to this business after hours with AirServe and kind of meet a few people, meet you, and get a sense of, this isn't nearly as intimidating.
Right.
Or whatever they thought the chamber was. Find out what it actually is before you make a decision not to be a part of it.
Right. Yeah. We always do that. We encourage folks to to come to an event on us. You don't have to be a member. Come to an event and just see what it's about. And Business After Hours is a great way to really get a sense and a feel for the the chamber and what we're about.
And then there's a lot of things you mentioned a second ago with Herb. You don't have to be a chamber member to take advantage of his consulting services.
Yeah, no.
And the classes that you and I are working on now and the webinars, you don't have to be a chamber member in order to participate in those either.
Right. There's lots of opportunities out there. There's definitely benefits to membership, and I want to talk to everybody about those, but that's a longer conversation, and so I invite people to reach out to me so that we can talk about that and why that's important. But we're also here to help the community as a whole, and so some of these things that we're going to talk about your classes, the reason that we're doing that is because of course we want to improve the community.
Well, and so much has changed during COVID. We talked about that earlier too, that how we did business a year and a half, 2 years ago is not at all very similar to how we're doing business now, and so many businesses have had to pivot and change and morph that a lot of them aren't going back to the old way.
Right.
And now they've realized, I never really needed to know about email campaigns or reaching out to my customers via email before, but then the pandemic comes along and it's the only way that you have to know you're going to get your stuff in front of somebody, because once everybody starts using Facebook and Instagram, your message starts getting lost in the fluff of Facebook and Instagram. So that's why we decided we were going to put some of these classes together.
Sure. And I'm sure you're going to talk about this in your classes, but right down to making sure that you're gathering the information. When the customers are in your store or when they're sending you email inquiries or whatever the case may be.
And it doesn't have to be fancy. I have clients that have the iPad. That people can walk in and put in their information and it's all done ahead of time and they don't have to touch anything. I have clients that have printed pieces of paper that is a form, and people come in and they write their first name, their last name, their email address, and their zip code. And that's all that's needed for us to create an email list and an email campaign. So it doesn't have to be technologically advanced, and it can be as simple as that. But once you have that information, the marketing you can do.
That's gold.
So we did the Facebook Live a couple of weeks ago. We did the Facebook Live event, which was fun. And the big thing that came out of that was emails. Several of the people that were on that Facebook Live event with us said they needed to learn more about email, that they knew, some of them in some cases had it and weren't using it the way they should. Some knew they should be using it and weren't using it or didn't know how to start. So the first thing we're going to do, we've got two topics. One is email marketing and one is Canva. Because if you are not a designer, then Canva is what you need.
Oh, yeah.
It is amazing. So we're going to do two webinars. And they're just informational. They're free. Thursday, August 26th, 10 a.m. It's going to be an online webinar for an hour to learn all the basics of email marketing. How does it work? Why you should use it? Are people really opening their emails and looking at things? What are the different options from MailChimp to Constant Contact to Aweber? We're going to cover all of that. And then 2 weeks later, on the 9th of September, we're going to do an actual in-person hands-on workshop. Where you bring your laptop or your iPad, you sit here at the chamber office, and we create those mailing lists for you. We do a campaign. I walk you through, this is what you need to do, and here's where you find the information that you need to be able to send out to people. So that's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to the email.
Well, and I would imagine you'll touch, too, on what these services give back to you and open rates and, that sort of stuff. What does all of that stuff mean? Because there's important information in that sort of...
I had a conversation with a new client a couple of weeks ago, and they have been doing email campaigns forever. And she's like, they keep sending me, after I send out an email, I get this email back from them a couple of days later, and it's like my results. And so I don't really know if those numbers are any good or not. Is a 37% open rate a good thing? I nearly fell on the floor. Because yes, it is amazing.
It is a really good thing.
No idea. Their next question was, so what does that mean? I said, that means you keep doing what you're doing right now. You don't change it, and you give more of what you're already doing. So those are the kinds of things that we're going to talk about in the workshop and a little bit on the webinar. The Canva is, we all know, from any time at all that you spend on Facebook or on Instagram, images are the key. Looking professional. You got to look the part for people to trust in your business and give you the credibility that you think you deserve. Canva helps you create Facebook posts, Instagram posts. It'll help you create presentations. You can create all the images you need for your website in Canva and have zero graphic design abilities, period. You don't have to know Adobe. You don't have to know Publisher. You don't even have to use Word ever again. You can use Canva, and it's free. There's a free version of it. So we're going to do a webinar on the overview of that, and then we're going to do a workshop where people will come, and we're going to create images for them to put on their social media networks during that workshop. So I'm excited to finally be getting back to doing these again, because it's been a long time.
It has been so long since we've been able to offer these sorts of things. And hopefully this is the beginning, and folks will attend and get the information, and we'll put some really good stuff out there.
So where do they start? Is the Chamber website the best first place?
Oh, absolutely. To get information on the Chamber, on joining the Chamber, what we have to offer, the calendar, all of that. frontroyalchamber.com is a great place to start. Folks can always email info@frontroyalchamber.com. Let me know that you want to know more, and we can set up a chat. And of course, we can do that any way you want to, whether it's on the phone, whether it's over Zoom, whether it's in person, whatever it is.
At the coffee shop.
Exactly. Whatever the case may be. Definitely reach out to us. Check us out.
And then you have Facebook, you have Instagram, you have Facebook groups that people can join once they're a member, and they can post and do their stuff there as well.
Absolutely.
All of the stuff that we've talked about today. New teacher reception obviously is going to be done by the time we're done on the air, and you'll be exhausted, but it will have been a smashing success. But business after hours, all of that stuff, you create events for on Facebook, so that's a good place to go to get up-to-date information as well.
Yeah, and we try to be really, really consistent with Facebook in particular. We utilize Instagram, probably not as well as I should, but
we'll do a class for that.
Yeah, we'll do a class for that. So yeah, there's plenty of places to get the information. But at the end of the day, if you just want to pick up the phone and give us a call at 540-635-3185. That works too.
Awesome. Well, thank you for rescheduling and still letting me come and see you in person to record.
It was wonderful.
I will be back tomorrow. I will have a brand new episode of The Valley Today ready to go for you just a few minutes after noon, so meet me here then.